Nebraska's season is getting close, and the Huskers have one of the best freshman classes in America. So in today's video, I'm finally going to make my predictions on which Nebraska freshmen burn their red shirts, which ones get in the game more than 4 times, and what their role on the team is going to be this season. So really quick, we have a jam-packed video for today. Make sure to hit that like button. If you're excited to see some of the new faces on the field for the Huskers, I know I am. And hey, if you are new to the channel or just a returning viewer, make sure to subscribe. The season is getting here ever close, and I post a video about Nebraska football every single day, so you can hit that subscribe button. It would help me out greatly. But without further ado, let's get into it, going over who I believe will play as a true freshman this year for the Huskers. Let's go to who I think will be in the mix to start. So last year, Matt Rhule burned 6 red shirts, both on offense, defense, and special teams. He said in the past that if there's talent, he's not going to keep it on the bench. He's going to find a way to get them on the field. For that reason, I think there's going to be more players than 6 who burn their red shirt this year with an even better recruiting class. But all right, let's get into the first tier of guys who will play in basically every single game this season for Nebraska and who will be in the mix to start from day one. The first guy, no question about it, Dylan Raiola will be Nebraska's starting quarterback this year, unforeseen of any injury, or basically that's about it. Dylan Raiola is going to be the guy. He's going to be special, the number 1 quarterback in the class of 2024. I expect him to be in the mix for freshman All-American honors when it's all said and done this year. He's going to lead Nebraska in passing yards, touchdowns, as you'd expect. Now, the only way he is not on the field the entire year is if he gets injured or banged up. I doubt he's going to be benched because he's going to play at an elite level. Now, there are going to be games where Dylan Raiola struggles. And as much as people want to come to my comment section and say, no, Dylan Raiola is going to be a perfect quarterback, that's unrealistic. And that's unfair of us to even act like Dylan Raiola is going to be perfect. Okay, there's going to be a game where he throws a pick or 2 and he's not perfect. He might lose us a football game here and there. But that's okay. That's just the growing pains of a freshman quarterback. He's going to be fine, and he's going to be awesome, especially at the end of the year when he finally gets in his groove. But yeah, Dylan Raiola, first guy, no question about it. The second guy who should not be of any surprise is Ja'Cory Barney. This guy's been balling out throughout fall practice. Here's the thing about Ja'Cory Barney. My only concern about him potentially getting on the field is that he is small, listed at 6 foot tall, only 170. But he is so naturally gifted. He's so athletic. Just has a knack for making plays, getting the football in his hands. He has a nice juke move, spin move to make a play after the catch. Has the ability to even go up for contested balls. Yes, he's small, but again, he can go up and get those 50-50s against some of the better corners in the Big Ten. Ja'Cory Barney is having one of the best off seasons we've seen of a true freshman Nebraska wide receiver probably since Wan'Dale Robinson. So for that reason, Ja'Cory Barney, no-brainer. I don't think he'll start for the Huskers, at least not right away, but he will absolutely play throughout the season and will rotate in. One more guy who I think will be in the mix to start, and then we'll get to the other guys who will have burned red shirts, and this is Vincent Shaver. Should be no surprise. Again, this is a guy who I predicted back in January. I told you this guy was going to get on the field as a true freshman before all of the hype, before all of spring ball. So it was not too much of a surprise to me when during spring practice, this guy got a lot of nods. He's the real deal. He's a very good player, listed at 6'1", 225 pounds, solid tackler. You can put him all over the field. Super, super versatile and athletic. And yeah, he's very similar to Levante David, where again, he might not always be in the right place on the field. He might not read the play correctly, but he just always will get to that ball carrier because he has a knack for making plays. And sometimes you need a guy like him, and Vincent Shavers has NFL written all over him. So those are my 3 guys who I think will be in the mix to start. But here are the guys who will probably be depth pieces, but will absolutely play and burn their red shirts. First one is Carter Nelson. Should not be too much of a surprise either. Now, I went back and forth in my opinion on Carter Nelson all offseason long. I told you back in June, the only way Carter Nelson would play this year is if he was a wide receiver. Now, of course, that turned out to be correct. Matt Rhule moved him to wideout. He's going to basically play in that hybrid tight end role, basically in the slot. But he's been running with the twos throughout a fall practice. Of course, listed at 6'5", 225. And for him, it's all about getting acclimated to 11-man football, getting acclimated to the speed of the game. And it seems like he's doing that at an elite level. Of course, we know how naturally gifted he is and how athletic he is. So he will absolutely get on the field for the Huskers this year. I don't think it'll be right away necessarily, at least not in those first couple games, but when we finally get into the stretch of Big Ten games, especially the later half of the year, Carter Nelson will get on the field, especially when injuries inevitably hit that room. That's college football for you. So that's my fourth guy. A couple others here. Let's go to the defensive side of the football for a couple. Willis McGahee playing that jack position, I believe, will have his red shirt burned. This guy is a very similar prospect to what Princewell Umanmielen was coming out of high school. He's a borderline 4-star recruit coming out of Miami, Florida. And I mean, he has that background. Of course, you know his father was one of the best running backs in Miami Hurricanes history. He plays that jack position, but you can still see that speed, explosiveness. He gets off the line of scrimmage very quick. And during Nebraska's open practice, he was running a lot with the twos and the ones. You know, this defensive line is very good for Nebraska, but the only concern I would say is that jack position. It's up in the air. Yes, you have Princewell Umanmielen. I believe he'll start. But MJ Sherman, he's underproduced so far in his career with Nebraska. Perhaps Willis McGahee could fight him for some reps. I think it'll happen, and for that reason, he will have his red shirt burned. A couple other guys here in the secondary, two cornerbacks for the Huskers. Mario Buford's the first one. He was starting earlier in fall camp. Let's at 6 foot tall, 175, very naturally gifted. Think about how good his brother is, Marquise Buford. Mario Buford, 2 times better coming out of high school. He's going to be the real deal. Again, very versatile player. Nebraska was practicing him at nickel corner, boundary corner, safety, rover. This guy can play all over the field, and for that reason, yeah, this one is a lock. He will have his red shirt burned. He will get on the field, barring any injuries. One more guy I have for you that I am certain will burn their red shirt, Larry Tarver, a guy I've been just singing the praises of. In my opinion, he's been the best performing Nebraska corner freshman throughout fall practice. There were one-on-one drills during that open practice, and man, he was balling out. Just a true man-to-man type of guy. Listed at only 5'10", 175, but has phenomenal ball instincts, really good tackling. He's coming out of Miami, Florida, man. Those Miami kids, they're a different breed, specifically in the secondary. Larry Tarver's no different, and I expect him to play this year basically all over the field. Wouldn't be surprised if they put him at boundary corner, let alone nickel. So those are my 7 guys who I believe will have their red shirts burned this year. I'm going to throw on one honorable mention because I know I'm going to get questioned about him, and this is Keona Davis / Keona Wilhite. Now, there's been a lot of hype around him. Terrence Knighton, of course, said that he is comparing him to Ndamukong Suh, just the way he's built. Of course, listed at 6'5", 275. He's an athletic freak. Now, the only reason why I think Keona Wilhite, or Keona Davis now, will not get on the field for the Huskers is simply this defensive line is too good. It is too good. It's too deep. Of course, you have Nash, Ty Robinson, Cam Lenhart, Jamari Butler, Riley Van Poppel. Those are 5 guys right there who are going to absolutely be in the game, who are going to rotate. And then you start to throw in guys like James Williams, Kai Wallen, the Texas A&M transfer, I can't remember his name, Elijah Judy. There you go. So, again, it's a very deep defensive line. For that reason, it's going to be almost impossible for Keona Davis to get reps this year. I expect next year to be really when he shines, but I know I was going to get a question about him. All right, guys, those are my 7 players who I believe Nebraska will burn their red shirts this year and will get on the field as true freshmen. Let me know down below. Is there a guy who you think will play that I didn't mention? Let me know in the comment section. Hey, if you made this far in the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And as always, folks, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one.